Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Wednesday, April 4th. Going to cover the main slate for today's video. A lot of early games today, only 5 games on the main slate. But I want to get this video out in plenty of time for you guys to consume it. So for that reason, I'm going to cover the late games. So that way this video gets out for plenty of time for the people playing the late slate. We definitely hit on some good plays yesterday. Verlander was okay. Had Josh Reddick and Bryce Harper in the 5 plays. Both of them hit home runs. So those were good plays. Going to try and continue that on this 5-game slate today. Hopefully get on some right plays, get on some guys that do well. But before we do get started looking at pitcher for today, make sure you guys drop a like on the video. And if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. So that way you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. But starting off at pitcher, looking 10K and above, we only have one pitcher, a stud pitcher that's over 10K, and that is Carlos Martinez in a matchup against the Brewers. And then under him, it gets like a lot of mid-tier plays, like 9K to 8K. And that's kind of where I'm looking today for my pitchers. I don't really think I want to pay up for Carlos Martinez. Not that I don't think he's going to really struggle or anything, but I feel like there might be pitchers that are cheaper that could definitely outscore him. Maybe like Johnny Cueto, even King Felix. John Gray's in a really good matchup. Sean Manaea, I think, has a lot of upside as well. These guys, you get pretty good savings if you don't play Carmart today, which I don't think is really necessary. So that reason, I don't think Martinez is a guy I'm trying to jam in. I'm looking to like this 9K and 8K range. The 2 guys that I really like for today that stick out to me, first off, John Gray, 8,500. Really like here against the Padres. Definitely a good matchup. The Padres, we know this is a team that's just not good. You look at their lineup; it's a gross lineup. They don't have a lot of good hitters. Up and down this lineup, there are definitely strikeouts. John Gray is going to be out of Coors Field going to Petco. Much pitcher-friendly park, a better park to pitch in. The Padres have a low total at only 3.7 runs, so I like this spot for John Gray. Think he has a lot of upside. 8,500. I like that price tag. I think he can definitely pay this off. Coming off a rough outing against Arizona, his first game he pitched, I think he pitches really well here against the Padres and has a very nice game. He's my SP1 for today. And then looking for my SP2, I definitely like Sean Manaea here, 8,200 against the Rangers. I think Manaea might be a riskier play, so maybe not in cash games. But for tournaments, Manaea has a lot of upside in this matchup. The Rangers definitely strike out a lot versus lefties. They struck out a lot last year. Didn't make really any changes to their lineup. Still got the same guys that they had last year. You look towards like the bottom of this lineup, even at the top with guys like Joey Gallo. And then looking at the bottom like Chirinos, Odor, Mazzara, these guys will definitely strike out versus lefties. I know Gallo has an insane K rate. I think it's like 30%. Might even be more than that versus lefties. So Manaea has a lot of upside here. He's pitching in Oakland at home, which is a very pitcher-friendly park, a good park to pitch in. And I just think Manaea really gets it done today. Gets at least 20 DraftKings points. I'm definitely going to be using him today, especially in tournaments. Maybe for cash games, if you want to go a little bit safer, you could possibly get up to Cueto or Hernandez, even pay up for Martinez. But I like this combo of Gray and Manaea. Gives you a lot of salary to pay up for bats, and both of these guys are in good strikeout matchups. The Padres strike out, the Rangers will strike out versus lefties. Both of these pitchers could rack up Ks. When I play them too, that still leaves me over 4,100 remaining per player for my bats. So definitely going to look to pay up for some bats here. Aren't a lot of bats to pay up for. But there are definitely some gas cans that we can target. A guy like Nolan Arenado, I absolutely love today at third base for 5K. Arenado's a great play in my opinion today. He's got great BVP against Clayton Richard for what that is worth. Definitely was on the BVP train last night with Bryce Harper, and it worked out well versus Tehran. He did take Tehran deep. He hit a home run in that game. I think Arenado does the same thing here against Clayton Richard. We look at the BVP. Arenado is 10 for 16 against Richard with the home run, a 625 average. He's absolutely crushed him. Obviously, some of those at-bats were in Coors Field, but even out of Coors Field, I think Arenado is still a good play here. Richard really struggles with righties. Arenado, over his career, has always been a guy that has crushed lefties. And even when you take him out of Coors, he still crushes lefties. So, love Arenado here. I think he has a lot of upside. Definitely has home run potential, especially in the lefty-righty matchup. And I like paying up for him on this slate. Obviously, since I go with Gray and Manaea, I can kind of pay up for like really any bats I want. So a guy like Arenado really trying to build around today at third base. And then if we maybe look for a little bit cheaper plays, since we went with Arenado, kind of going to have to find some value So there's a guy I like at first base. It's a little cheap that I like for a value play today. Matt Carpenter, 3,700 against Julio Chacin. I like here as someone you can use at first base if you're trying to save salary. I like this matchup with Chacin. I like the ballpark in Milwaukee, a very hitter-friendly park. It's a good matchup versus Chacin. Chacin has definitely been a guy that has struggled with lefties. Carpenter's always been a guy that's hit righties better than he has lefties. And surprisingly, the Cardinals have one of the highest run totals on this slate at 4.7 runs, which is kind of saying something. The Blue Jays do lead the slate in implied run total at 5.3 runs, but then second highest is the Cardinals and Athletics, both tied at 4.7 runs. So I do like some of these Cardinals bats. They're really, really cheap. Looking from top to bottom of their projected lineup, Fowler is only 3.3K. Tommy Pham, homer Tuesday night. I think he's a good play here at 3.9. Carpenter, obviously, 3.7. Even Ozuna at 4.2. Definitely some value in this lineup. Playing in Milwaukee, you definitely like some of these Cardinals bats getting that park upgrade, going to Miller Park, which is very hitter-friendly. So I like Carpenter as a first base play that you can use if you're trying to save salary. And especially if maybe you want to pay up for Martinez, you're definitely going to have to find some cheap bats. Carpenter's a guy that I like for cheap. And then there's another cheap guy that I like in the outfield, Curtis Granderson at 3,200. Really good value option in my opinion today. If you're looking to go a little bit down at outfield and looking to go a little bit cheap. I really like this matchup with Carson Fulmer. I like the Blue Jays today. They're going to be one of my top stacks. Just because Carson Fulmer is not the best pitcher, Blue Jays have the highest run total on the slate, and they have really cheap bats up and down their lineup. Besides Donaldson and Smoke, there's no other guy in that lineup that's above 4K. Donaldson's 4.6, Smoke is 4.5, and then you get a lot of value here with Solarte at 3.5. Granderson, projected about 5th, is only 3.2K. We did see Granderson lead off on Tuesday, but I don't think Devon Travis was in the lineup, but maybe they continue to lead Granderson off, especially versus a righty. So that's just extra at bats for him if he does lead off. Really good value option. 3.2K, should see plenty at bats. Good matchup with Carson Fulmer, getting the righty-lefty split. Playing in Toronto, a good hitter's park. Really like Curtis Granderson here. If you're trying to go cheap at outfield and you need some value, I like him at 3,200. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for today. 2 pitchers that I like and 3 batters I like. John Gray, Sean Manaea, Matt Carpenter, Nolan Arenado, and Curtis Granderson. I didn't talk much about other pitchers, so if we look at some of the other pitchers on the slate besides the guys I talked about like Gray, Manaea, and Carmart, Johnny Cueto and Felix Hernandez are definitely 2 pitchers I like here. If we look at that game and implied run total, the total on that game is only 7 runs, which is pretty low, 7.1 runs. So Vegas is projecting this game to be a pitcher's duel, and I definitely think it could be, especially since it's being played in San Francisco, in AT&T Park, a very pitcher-friendly park. Love Felix going to the National League because he'll be able to face the opposing pitcher. Kind of the same thing with Johnny Cueto playing at home in the NL. He'll be able to face Felix. Definitely some free strikeouts there. If I had to choose one of these guys, I think I would lean Cueto, but I think both guys do have upside. 20 DraftKings points from both guys would not surprise me at all. I think this Seattle-San Francisco game is going to be low scoring. So Cueto and Hernandez are 2 pitchers I like. Aaron Sanchez, I like that matchup with the White Sox, but I think he's too risky. I'd rather just get up to Hernandez, get up to Cueto, and then under Sanchez, like Doug Fister, Chacin, Richard, Fulmer. These aren't guys I'm really considering. So mainly a pitcher today, I'm looking at John Gray, Manaea, Cueto, and Hernandez. Those are kind of my 4 guys that I'm definitely targeting in my lineups for tonight. But then if we look for some stacks today and then look at BVP, stacks I kind of already talked about. It's mainly the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, and really the Athletics I'm looking to. Maybe some of these righties for the Rockies I think could be really good plays here against Clayton Richard, because Richard does struggle with righties. So like LeMahieu, Arenado, Story. Story's really cheap. I think he's a good option today. Ian Desmond in the 6th hole. These could be guys you target, even though the Rockies have a low total. I think they still have bats that you can play from their lineup. But yeah, it's kind of the Blue Jays, Cardinals, and Athletics are kind of the teams I'm looking to target today. Mainly the Blue Jays. They are definitely number 1 for me. But then if we look at BVP and PVB, look at some of the top BVP plays for today. Hitters that have done really well in the past against pitchers they're facing. Chris Iannetta's gone 6 for 17 against Clayton Richard. DJ LeMahieu has hit Richard well, 4 for 14. Only a 286 average, but does have 2 extra base hits against Clayton Richard. Domingo Santana 6 for 17 against Carmart. Elvis Andrus is 9 for 18, so Elvis Andrus batting a 500 average versus Manaea. So maybe if you're not playing Manaea today, you could play Elvis Andrus if you do believe in BVP. Eric Thames has hit a home run in 10 at-bats against Carmart. That definitely makes sense. Carmart really struggles with lefties. So maybe you play Eric Thames today if you're not looking to Carlos Martinez. Then if we look down a little bit more, you obviously have Arenado here, who's 10 for 16 against Clayton Richard. Ryan Rua, if he's in the lineup and if you're not playing Minaya today, Rua's hit Minaya really well, 8 for 17, a 471 average. Trevor Story's 3 for 12 against Clayton Richard with a 250 average, does have a home run against him. And then that's really it. Will Myers, 7 for 21 against John Gray with the home run. But that's really it for BVP. Then if we look at the pitchers that have done well against the teams they're facing, it's really just the two pitchers in that San Francisco-Seattle game. Felix Hernandez and Johnny Cueto have both pitched well against each other's teams. Felix has done well against the Giants. The Giants have struggled to hit him, only hitting 224 average against Felix. And then look at the Mariners. They're only hitting a 222 average versus Johnny Cueto. I do like Felix and Cueto today, both a lot. And then pitchers that have really struggled against the teams they're facing. Carlos Martinez has struggled with the Brewers. They really hit him well. Obviously, that Brewers lineup, it's changed a lot since from what it was. They added Christian Yelich. They added Lorenzo Cain. And those guys are pretty good hitters. And obviously, it's a hitter's park. So kind of one of the reasons I don't like Martinez today. The Rockies have hit Clayton Richard well. Makes a ton of sense there. Sean Manaea has really struggled against the Rangers, but I don't think that's going to keep me off of Manaea today. I still like him, even though the Rangers have hit him well in the past. I think Manaea is definitely going to have kind of a breakout year and pitch really well this year. So that's really it for BVP and PVB, and I think that's pretty much it for this slate, guys. Hopefully you got a lot of information out of this video. Hopefully you got some good analysis, and you're more prepared for tonight's 5-game slate. Hopefully this video did help you. If the video did help you, just make sure you drop a like down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or you can just leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and good luck tonight on this slate, guys. Peace.